Imagine an ocean where the ripples on the surface hide a shadow the size of a city bus. For millions of years, the world's waters were governed by a nightmare of cartilage and teeth: the Megalodon. This wasn't just a larger version of a shark we know today. It was a biological masterpiece of apex predation that made the great white look like a harmless baitfish. To understand the Megalodon is to understand a time when the Earth's oceans were a theater of giants, and one king reigned supreme over them all. The story of the Megalodon begins in the warm, shallow seas of the Neogene period. Reaching lengths of up to 60 feet, this massive predator weighed more than 10 elephants combined. Its sheer scale is difficult for the human mind to process. If you were to stand next to its open jaws, a full-grown adult could walk through them without ducking. These jaws weren't just for show. They were lined with over 200 serrated teeth, each the size of a human hand. These teeth are the primary reason we know so much about them today. Because sharks are made of cartilage rather than bone, their skeletons rarely fossilize, but their teeth are practically indestructible, scattered across the ocean floor like discarded daggers from a forgotten war. The hunting strategy of the Megalodon was a display of absolute power. Unlike modern sharks that often aim for the soft underbelly of their prey, the Megalodon was built to tackle the heavyweights of the sea: whales. Evidence from fossilized whale ribs shows massive crush marks and deep gashes that match the dental structure of the Megalodon. It likely used its immense bite force, estimated to be the strongest of any animal in history, to crush the rib cages and puncture the vital organs of small to mid-sized whales. It was a predator that didn't just bite, it obliterated. Yet even a king has his limits. As the Pliocene epoch moved toward the Pleistocene, the world began to change. The Earth entered a cooling phase, and the massive glaciers began to form at the poles. This environmental shift was the beginning of the end for the Megalodon. These sharks relied on warm coastal waters for their nurseries, where their young could grow safely away from other predators. As sea levels dropped and the oceans cooled, these vital breeding grounds disappeared. At the same time, their primary food source, the whales, began to migrate to colder, nutrient-rich polar waters where the Megalodon could not follow. The final blow to their reign likely came from competition. New, more adaptable predators were emerging, such as the ancestors of the great white shark and the early orcas. These smaller hunters were faster, worked in pods, and required less food to survive, while the Megalodon was a specialist that needed massive amounts of calories and warm water. The newcomers were generalists who could thrive in the changing world. Eventually, the giant could no longer sustain its own massive existence. By about 3.6 million years ago, the Megalodon vanished from the fossil record, leaving the throne of the ocean vacant for the first time in eons. Today, the Megalodon lives on in our collective imagination and on our cinema screens. There are those who look at the vastness of the unexplored deep sea and wonder if the monster still lurks in the darkness. However, science tells a different story. An animal that large would leave traces, bite marks on modern whales, sightings in shipping lanes, or environmental impacts that couldn't be ignored. The Megalodon is gone, but its legacy remains as a reminder of a period in Earth's history when nature reached its absolute limit of size and power. It was the ultimate guardian of the deep, a creature of such terrifying proportions that even millions of years after its last breath, the mere thought of its shadow is enough to make us hesitate before stepping into the waves.